This is Adrian Biddle, producer of The Dark and the Wicked, The Blackcoat's Daughter, and The Monster, and you're listening to the Horror Squad podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Horror Squad podcast. This is episode number 368, where tonight we will be talking about 1992's Ghostwatch, as picked by our special guest, Austin, who is here tonight. As always, I'm here with Steve and Todd. But Austin, welcome. How you doing, sir?
Hey, I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on. I wouldn't be on today if it wasn't for you guys taking a massive swing at making a movie, and it's really cool that you guys are doing this, and I've been looking forward to being on and just hanging out for a little bit, and yeah, it should be really cool.
Excellent. Yeah, we're super excited to have you on, and once again, thank you so much for donating to our little movie we got going on. I know we got a lot of things moving, and I mean, I'm super excited. I cannot wait for this thing to get out there and for you guys to see it. It's going to be so much fun. Steve, Todd, how you guys doing? How's your week?
The week was insane for various reasons, which I won't get into. But I did have an interesting experience today because I'm filming the trailer for the movie, and part of the trailer will show what our poster shows is basically a killer preparing for the three guys, to be kind of tied up and tortured. So in my basement, I set up a room where I put like the chairs and like weapons and like zip ties and rope and all that kind of shit. And first of all, buying that was fun because
to be clear, you got it from your bedroom.
Well, yeah, of course they don't. We call it the dungeon, Todd. And so, yeah, buying it was interesting enough. But then I have a contractor at my house right now who's doing work on my bathrooms, and he needs to go to the basement to like clean some paintbrushes and stuff. I'm like, okay, so we got to have a little conversation about that. Just so you know, I'm filming a movie, and it's not like a weird porno set, and it's not like anything crazy. So yeah, it was really awkward, but I'm looking forward to it. It'll be fun.
Shout out to Gary, the contractor, for not turning Steven into the authorities.
Yet.
Speaking of movie stuff, I just found out that Tubi no longer allows you to submit directly to them. You have to go through another hurdle. So come on, Tubi, we've been supporting you for how long? Boo! So that's gonna be fun, but we'll make it happen. Like the trailer, I cannot wait for it. It's gonna be so freaking fun the way Steve's described it.
I mean, worst case, we'll buy 1,500 copies of it and bring it out of our trunk.
Yeah,
the old way.
Well, yeah, we'll go to the swap meets. We'll go to the grocery store parking lots. But hey, you want a Blu-ray?
Right.
Let's see. My weekend, Friday hockey game, which I think hockey's probably moving up to my second favorite sport, man. In front of baseball, it's just so fun to watch. Because we got a minor league hockey team over here in Cincinnati, the Cincinnati Cyclones. Shout out to them who lost 4-3 in overtime on Friday. You turds. It's always exciting when you get a fight. We had one fight only, which is kind of lame, but hey, do what you gotta do. Saturday, I got tattooed to honor my dog who passed away last year. If you guys remember on the show, got his paw print and his name on my above my knee, which is cool. And that's about it.
You mentioning things being sold out of a trunk made me think of a story. Back like 10 years ago, I used to go to this like really shady flea market where like they used to sell like a bunch of like bootleg stuff and like a bunch of fake shit and stuff. But there was one guy who had like Blu-rays, but also like movies that, he was like burning and shit like that. So I used to go and like buy like rare, like out of print stuff from him and stuff and whatnot. And then one day I went to the flea market and there was like the FBI was there like raiding it. There was like cop cars like everywhere and shit like that. So like I just did a little 360 and
You
turned
did the Grandpa
around
Simpson thing
and
where he
moved
walks
around.
in,
Yeah,
walks out.
yeah, exactly. I was like, oh, and so then like the next day, the dude like texted me like, oh, dude, because he knew I went to him like every week. He's like, dude, I'm so sorry. He's like, yeah, he's like, we got like raided or whatever. He's like, but if you want to meet me, he's like, you can meet me like at this address or whatever. So like I fucking went there and like he was like out of his car and like down this alleyway. He like opened up his trunk and like I was like sifting through all the stuff and I never went again. I was like, this is too fucking fucking shady for me. I ain't doing this again.
Dude,
But
that could have been like the cops being like, "Hey, get all your
right?
customers."
I know. I know.
That's fucked up.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Pretty
Was that like
funny.
his
But
main business, or did he have like other
I
like
don't
side
know.
gigs, or
He
that was
sold
That
just like his
tamales
main?
too.
I don't know. I think yeah, I think it was I'm assuming it was a side hustle, but who knows? But shout out to Tony. You know, he was out there hustling, so thank you. Austin, how was your week? Anything fun, anything exciting?
Not really. Just pretty much hanging out at the house. Just watched some movies over the weekend. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, nothing really really exciting. I wanted to go see Companion over the weekend, but
Yeah.
I never got time to. But that's probably the next one that I'll be checking out. But yeah, other than that, really, nothing out of the ordinary.
Nice. Yeah, same. I'm going to see Companion tomorrow, actually, so I'm super
Oh,
excited.
cool.
I'll mention it probably on What Watched
Yeah,
next week, and then Hard Eyes is coming out next week.
yeah. Honestly, like February should be a pretty good month for horror.
Yeah. Hopefully, we'll see.
Yeah,
So far, it hasn't been anything too memorable, but I'm hearing great things about Companion, so I'm
yeah.
hoping
Same.
that one is going to be a top 10 contender when that hits. Alrighty, gentlemen. I think that's about it for our intro, but now we'll get to know Austin. I think we all have some questions for Austin. Who wants to start us off? Steve? Well, let Steve start us off. He always has the best questions, so.
Yeah, sure. One question I always love to find out is what's the horror movie that you would attribute as being like the one that really sparked your love of the genre?
Oh man, that's like it's really tough whenever I have to think back. You know, I would probably say, I guess maybe Shaun of the Dead. Just it was like my mom took me to go see it. I guess I would have been maybe like 11 around the time. So I went to, after seeing that movie, I was just kind of like, oh man, this is awesome. Like I want more of this. And I mean, in hindsight, I'm kind of surprised that she took me, but I'm glad that she did. But yeah, I guess I would probably say Shaun of the Dead would be like the one that really got me into like just the horror genre and seeing what you can do with it. And like I just love Edgar Wright's movies. So yeah, I'd probably say Shaun of the Dead.
Would you say that your favorite genre is zombies, or did that just open the floodgate and then you dived into everything else?
I would say it probably opened the floodgates. I mean, I really do like zombie movies, but I wouldn't say it's like my number one. Like growing up, I always like monster movies, like Godzilla, stuff like that, just anything with creatures, monsters, stuff like that I was really into. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of changed. It just, kind of like with everything else, your tastes change over time. And um, but yeah, I mean, I love a good zombie movie, but I wouldn't say it's like my number one. But yeah, I'm just um yeah, I guess probably I guess I mean it's like with Ghostwatch was one of the main reasons I picked that was because I'm really into like haunted house style movies and stuff like that. So that kind of attributed, but that's probably the main my like go to if I have to pick a genre.
Nice. I guess my first question is how did you even find the podcast to begin with?
Oh man. I want to say it was like Instagram, I think, because I
Okay.
just came across, like some horror stuff. I always see, recommended things, and I think it was either you or Sam that I saw, and then I noticed that you guys had a podcast, and I was like, oh, well, cool. There's like a bunch of horror podcasts out there, but I'm glad I found y'all's. But yeah, it was just kind of like I guess random chance that I came across it, and then after listening for a while, I found out you guys had a Discord, and like the group over there is really cool because it's kind of one of those things where it's like, you know, when you get into like a, community like that where you're like, oh man, I don't want to, disrupt things because it seemed like you guys have, you know, longtime friends and stuff. So it was kind of one of those things where it's like, well, I don't want to just like, butt in there, but everybody in there is really cool. You can pretty much bring up whatever, and there's going to be somebody that's going to want to talk about it. So that was, I guess, kind of the intro into finding the podcast was just kind of coming across it out of nowhere.
So, you're obviously a big horror fan. Is there anything that you would recommend that's maybe like not super mainstream or something that you love that you wish got more love out there?
Oh man, just like in general or like with horror?
With horror, yeah.
Um, oh man.
I wouldn't mind hearing one non-horror recommendation too, though. Might be
Oh,
something
one non-horror recommendation.
horror and non-horror.
Okay. Man, that is a good question. So I guess because I heard y'all talk about it last week and you guys hadn't heard of it, which I, knowing that, I may have picked this movie instead, but Perfect Blue is
Hmm.
actually really good. I was surprised going into it because I had never heard of that movie before. And then on the last drive-in with Joe Bob, uh, it was sometime last year that he showed it, and I was like, oh, this is like, an anime. I didn't expect to see, see this on Joe Bob's last drive-in. And after watching it, I was like, wow, this is awesome. And I guess I never really thought of, you don't see too much animated horror in general.
Hmm.
So that was, I would say probably that for horror recommendations. Non-horror, one that I really liked recently, I would probably say The Last Stop in Yuma County.
Hmm.
That was a pretty cool one. It's kind of like kind of all set in one like gas station slash diner type place. And I really dug it. I don't really want to say too much because it kind of, it, I don't want to like spoil anything, just the way that it progresses, but it's worth checking out. I think I found it on, I don't know if it's still streaming anywhere. It was on Prime for a while, but I know you can get the Blu-ray like real cheap.
What about switch gears here? I see, like, for the people that can't see, you got a massive collection of, looks like a bunch of Star Wars, Marvel, and things like that. Do you
Yeah.
collect horror trinkets too?
I do. Yeah. Yeah. I've just
Nice.
more so lately, I think. Um, for a while I used to get, when Mondo was still doing posters and stuff like that, anytime
Mm,
like a cool horror poster would
Hmm.
come up, I'd grab one of those and
nice.
things like that. I'm actually going to Frightmare, which I don't know. I think Joe said that
Nice.
he might be going.
Yeah, I'm planning on it. Yeah, Sam
Yeah,
and
Are
I.
you
so
a
I'm
Texas native or?
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
I'm about I'm in Bryan, College Station. It's kind of like about an hour and a half from Houston.
Okay.
Okay.
So, but yeah, I'm looking forward to going there, checking out all the cool stuff they've got at, shops and things like that. I mean, it's kind of like the rest of the house honestly looks like Halloween threw up in it. So
Hmm.
kind of
Nice.
similar to Joe's behind him, but yeah, mostly most of the stuff in here is like Marvel stuff, and then the rest of it's like horror slash Halloween throughout the rest of the house. So
So you do conventions a lot then? So
I
like throughout your life?
I used to go quite a bit.
Okay.
I honestly haven't really been the last few years because between like saving up for a wedding and
Oh,
all like we had some stuff at the house we had to take care of, so it was just kind of like getting that stuff out of the way. But I used to go to, I think it was like Fan Expo and then Dallas Comic Con quite a bit. So
okay.
I used to be a um pretty frequent goer to those.
So here's my next one then. Who was your first celebrity you met as far as
Ooh.
at a con and like, got a
Oh,
signature or something and then
oh
follow that up
man.
with who was the last one? And yeah, let's go with that. First and
Jeez.
last. And how old were you when you first? I know we've all told the story how old we were, like young teens seeing these icons and we're just, shitting our pants in
Yeah.
awe.
I know it's like terrifying because it's like you see him on TV and movies and stuff like
Yeah,
that, and then you finally see him, in person. You're like, oh man, this is
yeah.
like,
And they're always smaller than you
I know.
imagine, except
Usually.
except Tony
Yeah.
Yeah.
Todd, dude. That guy's
Tony
fucking
Todd's
giant.
Oh, really?
huge.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
bummed that I
Yeah.
never got a chance to meet him, but I want to say my first one, because it's been a long time. I probably would have been like around 16 or 17, because I used to go with a bunch of my
Nice.
friends. We just go up there for the weekend and hang out. And I think it would have been Ernie Hudson was my first one.
Oh,
Mm,
cool.
nice.
And he was, I mean, the nicest dude. Like, I don't know how often he goes to conventions and stuff anymore, but that was one that I really enjoyed, talking to and stuff. Like, it wasn't for very long, but he was awesome. And then the last one, I guess that would have been maybe like 2018 or 2019. From memory, I would guess probably maybe like Jeff Goldblum, but
Oh, wow.
it
It's a
was
big one.
so like fast. Like he was basically just like
Yeah.
signing stuff and going. Like, I mean, I didn't expect to really get a chance to talk to him very much, but I mean, you could say like, "Hey, what's up?" Stuff like that. But yeah, I think that was the last one. But it was just like a very fast interaction. But it was cool to get something signed from him.
Yeah. Did you get anything? Was it on the fly or Jurassic Park?
Jurassic Park,
Or
yeah,
Was it
Jurassic
yeah. I
the
Park?
got it was
the
like
Nice.
the
shirtless
Funko Pop.
one
Yeah, it
where
was
you're
yeah
just
the
laying
Funko
inside?
Pop of him. Yeah, I was like, I felt
Perfect.
it felt wrong to
That's
not
cool.
get that.
That's awesome. Who's been your like absolute favorite to meet? Like who was like your like the one that really was like, wow, this is amazing.
Oh man, so I would say probably. I know it's kind of like out of left field, but I'm completely blanking on his name. But the guy that played Daredevil.
No,
Oh,
like the current Daredevil,
Yes.
what
Charlie
what is it?
Cox.
Yeah,
Charlie
Charlie
Cox.
Cox, him. Yeah,
Okay.
he was so nice. Like, I mean, he took the time out, talked to everybody. I went to like a photo op the next day and he like remembered me. And I was like, dude, you
Hmm.
see like so many people here. Like, how do you remember,
Hmm.
faces from like thousands of, but yeah, he was just awesome. I mean, I I am looking forward to because I've honestly never been to Frightmare before. So this is gonna
It's
be my first
a
one
great
coming
one.
up. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Like so far, it seems like they have a pretty good lineup.
Yeah,
I'm
solid
looking
so
to
far.
see who else they add on there, but
Hmm.
yeah, so far, I haven't really, at least from memory, I haven't really had anybody that's been like a bad experience,
Hmm.
thankfully.
That's good.
I know y'all have talked about having some, stinkers here and there,
Yeah.
but for the most part, it's been pretty positive overall.
Yeah, I would say like nine. I mean, I think between all of us, we've attended so many. You're bound to get at least one, but 99% of the time, I feel like it's always a pretty good interaction with the celebs that go to these conventions. But yeah, Frightmare usually gets about 40 or 50 guests, and right now they're not even at 20 yet. So I
No,
know
it's not many.
they're going to be announcing, I'm sure, a ton more. But yeah, so far Bruce Campbell is the biggest
Yeah.
name I would say, so that would be a good
His
one.
lines could be fucking insane.
Insane. Because he
Yeah.
hasn't done a lot of cons
No.
recently. He's been
No.
very few and far between, but he's
He
someone
he
I
also
definitely.
he also sucks to me. Like your story about Jeff
Well, he's super
Goldblum.
sarcastic.
He doesn't
Yeah.
even look up at you, man.
Yeah.
So
So is he kind of one
Yeah.
of those just kind of like signs it and just goes on or
yeah,
Sorta.
just
Yeah.
glances at you. Yeah,
really?
Hmm. Yeah.
That's kind of a bummer.
it is.
And
Yeah.
it like sucks because like I get that they're, busy and stuff, but it's like when you go to cons and you're like, even with like musicians and stuff, it's like when they're, rude to people that made them where they are, like fans and stuff. It's like, you don't want to feel like entitled, like, oh, I'm gonna, go up there and have like a whole conversation. But
Mm.
it's like being nice to people isn't hard. It's
Right.
like it's crazy that there's some people that just
Especially
seem
when
like
you're
I
asking
guess
for
they're in it
money.
for the yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and some of the prices are kind of
Give
crazy.
me
I
your
mean, it's
money.
like
Yeah.
they're getting pretty high lately. But yeah, it's just kind of a bummer when you meet somebody and they're just kind of like,
Hmm.
it's cool getting the signature, but it wasn't really worth it.
Yeah. I will say kudos though to Campbell. He's only charging, I think, 50 or 60 at Frightmare.
That's
I feel
really
like he
good.
could
Really?
easily be 100, like
I
Yeah.
expected
easily.
100,
Like
yeah. 60,
yeah.
56, not bad at
So
all.
so he's being pretty fan friendly there. So I will give him credit for that. And if you can attend, I'm assuming he's going to do a Q&A, like he's like an absolute must go to for his Q&As because they're
Okay,
usually
cool.
hilarious.
Yeah.
Uh, all right, gentlemen, anyone else have any questions or should we get into what watched? Alrighty, let's do it. All right. Well, thanks, Austin, for being our guinea pig and just accepting all our questions there.
Yeah, no problem.
But all right, gentlemen. So hopefully you all got to know Austin a little better and go and chat with him on Discord. He's over on our Discord. And once again, if you haven't joined our Discord, please do. Completely free to join. And Austin just gave it an endorsement. And don't be afraid. Come over, talk to all the friendly people over there. But all right, gentlemen, now let's get into what watched. And we'll start off with our guest tomorrow night. Austin, what you been watching this week?
Ooh, no pressure. So this was a recommendation from Steve because he had his list going of movies to recommend throughout the year where he was taking recommendations from people and recommended a movie back. So he recommended Splinter from 2008. And I watched this on Blu-ray. I think it's still it used to be streaming and now I think it may be somewhere I'm not 100% sure. But basically the plot is there's this couple that goes out into the woods on their anniversary. They're going to go camping and they're setting the tent up, all that fun stuff. Tent breaks and they're like, "Oh man, we got to go to a motel instead." So it cuts over to this other couple that are setting up on the road and it looks like they're kind of shady, like they're looking to make it look like they crashed, like couldn't get, to where they're needing to go, so they need a ride. So this other couple is driving and they come up on this girl and they're like, oh, we should stop, pick her up. And the guy from the couple, the shady couple, goes up and is like, hey, you're going to drive us where we need you to go. Like, get in the back seat, all that stuff. So they're driving and they hit this, looks kind of like just random animal and it blows their tire out. And when they go to fix it, the shady guy goes to roll it out and he gets like a splinter in his finger from the tire. So he's like just kind of throws it off like, oh, must have been something on there. So they get all that fixed. They get to this gas station, and they're going to go in, get some coolant because their radiator started messing up. And the girl with the shady couple goes into the bathroom and finds this gas station attendant that has been attacked by something. He looks super messed up, has like these quills kind of coming out of him. She gets attacked, and they basically are stuck in this gas station trying to avoid this like parasitic it looks like black goop basically, but it turned like if it gets on you or like, in a cut or something, it basically turns you into a zombie. So I really like this one. I was not I remember hearing about this a long time ago and I just never saw it because it's kind of like on the lower budget end, but honestly the effects are great. The acting was solid. I was just really impressed overall. Like I didn't realize that the director, I guess, had like 30 credits on other movies for special effects. And the special effects were like surprisingly good for the budget that they had. Overall, I think my biggest complaint would have been the camera work on some of the things, I guess just because the way that it's shot and they probably want to hide a little bit of the practical effects and things like that was a little shaky. It's just kind of like one of the where you have trouble figuring out what's going on. But overall, I mean, I would say check it out for sure. I mean, I was impressed. I gave it a 4 out of 5 over on Letterboxd, and that was Splinter over on Blu-ray.
Nice. Excellent. 4 out of 5. High praise. I've never seen it, so that's something I think I'll definitely be checking
Well,
out.
Joe, if you had done your calendar thing last year, I think it was like your June or May. I think that's the one I picked for you.
I only got through. I got through about 3 months of it. So
yeah, it's like $10 on Amazon right now. Like if you get the Blu-ray, it's not expensive at all.
I sense a fellow collector here for movies.
Yes, I will 100% like physical media is the way to go. It just sucks how many times that movies get bounced around and taken off of stuff. It's like if I can get the physical version of the movie, like you don't have to worry about your internet going out. Yeah, you just own it. Like I would recommend physical media 100%.
You'll love Frightmare because there's a ton of physical media.
Yeah, my bank account is not ready.
Splinter's over on Tubi right now too for.
Oh, is it really?
For the tubesters out there, yep. Oh, and it stars the guy who plays Skinny Pete from Breaking Bad. So that's
cool.
He
was a gas station attendant at the beginning that gets like attacked by the I guess it was like a wombat or something. I don't know what it was, but he gets attacked, and that's initially what gets the like parasite thing going at the gas station.
Nice. Alrighty, I'll go next. So my first watch tonight is a theater release. It was a very limited theater release. It is going to be hitting VOD probably relatively soon, and that's Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare. This they did, I think it was like a 2-week limited release on weekday, like it was like a Monday through Wednesday type thing, which kind of sucked. Like they didn't put it out on weekends for whatever reason, but it's cool that it kind of got released. This is, of course, part of the Pooniverse, and I still have to watch Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2, but
it's good.
This one, it's pretty good. I know you got high praise from Todd, and I think someone else mentioned it today too in the Discord. Someone else had high praise for it as well. I think Ryan, was it? Yeah. But Steve, are you gonna have your other Pooniverse movie being talked about tonight? Okay.
There's not much to talk. Maybe another time, but I have 2 others.
All right. So yeah, Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare. Yeah, I mean, this one, like I watched the trailer and surprisingly I was like, this actually looks kind of interesting. So I decided to go and check it out. And I gotta say, I was pleasantly surprised. This one is about, it's like a reimagining, of course, of the Peter Pan tale, where Peter is essentially like a mentally unhinged circus performer who, well, he starts as a circus performer. He gets into an accident that like burns his face, and from there he starts stalking children he sees from the circus and whatnot. He ends up coming across Michael and Wendy, and he kidnaps Michael, and Wendy is our final girl essentially, and has to save Michael from this deranged Peter Pan, who also has Tinkerbell with him, they're both essentially like heroin addicts, and they, instead of, on heroin, I think it says like fairy dust or something, and Tinkerbell's just like injecting herself with the fairy dust like over and over again. But yeah, but I gotta say, I was expecting the worst, and I came out actually really enjoying it. I think the script was kind of brilliant, like a way to imagine Peter Pan in a horror way. I think this was the way to go, like making him like, taking the kids to Neverland is really taking them to sort of like their sort of death essentially. He's like, I'll take you to Neverland or whatever, and he's kidnapping these children. It's like a really deranged way. I mean, the movie two plays it very dark. Like it never strays. It commits to the bit and it never goes into sort of like goofy territory. The guy who plays Peter Pan was, I thought, great in it. But yeah, man, it's good performances all around, I gotta say. I would say my biggest complaint would be Wendy and Michael. I just never connected with them, so I really didn't care like about their fates. Like I was more every time Peter and Tinkerbell were on screen, I was completely engaged, and I thought they were both great in their roles. I think it could have been a little more fleshed out, but overall, I was expecting this to be like a 1 star type movie, but I gave it a 3 out of 5. And honestly, the more I think about it, I maybe would consider upping it to a 3.5 out of 5. But I think I got to watch it again once it hits VOD or whatever. But yeah, pleasantly surprised. My favorite Pooniverse movie I've watched so far. So yeah, that's Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare. Hopefully coming out soon. I think more people should check it out.
Well, I hope you like Pooh too, because it's fucking good. All right, my first one is a first time that I've actually sat down and watched the whole thing. Always was bits and pieces, and that's 1987's The Gate, which is currently over on, you guessed it, Tubi. Yeah, this one has a young Stephen Dorff from Blade. What's the Blade guy's name? Fucking, I want to say Cal Ripken, but that's baseball player. What's his name? Deacon or something?
Oh yeah, Deacon Frost.
Deacon, yeah.
Deacon Frost. Yeah, he plays Deacon Frost. But this time he's like a 9, 10-year-old boy, and he's got a big old treehouse in the backyard. Lightning strikes the tree, it falls over, exposing like this big old hole, kind of like a portal or something. I don't know. It's got smoke coming out of it. It's got some weird lights. Like, hey, as boys do, we fuck around in the holes, guys. I don't know about you, but whenever we found a hole, we used to climb in it, dig around in it. And as adults, that means a little bit different thing now. But yeah, so they find like a rock, a fancy rock that's like shiny and stuff, and they bring it in and they crack it open and it releases like a fucking mist and then like it creates demonic writing and shit. And there's this fucking kid that's like the punk rock kid, the friend. He's wearing like a, like Slayer fucking shirt stuff and all that stuff. And he can read the demonic writing because he has some records from some metal bands. He's like, whoa, this is just like the metal band. He deciphers it. It's pretty funny. At the end of the day, though, like I wasn't really into this one. I really dug the creatures. They were pretty cool. The little stop motion stuff is always nice. Practical effects is always fucking great. Like I love seeing that shit. The final boss is really dope, but I think it took a little bit too long to get there. Like, all right, we got the fucking setup, we got the whole. Of course, they're gonna go into it and explore. Let's get there a little bit quicker. Let's get to the meat a little bit faster. And unfortunately, kind of drug a little bit. And I gotta say, like, worst sibling award goes to the sister in this one because she's babysitting her brother. She's like, 16 or something like that. And their fucking dog dies, man. And she just fucking leaves them like, oh, it's not a big deal. And she has a friend come over and is like, can you bury my dog for me? And the boyfriend takes the dog and it's just fucking weird, man. Fuck you, stupid sister. At the end of the day, though, charming 80s monster feature thing in my bobber, but wasn't really for me, but I still gave it a 3 out of 5. And that's The Gate over on Tubi.
I was just looking. I have like the little gate, like a little figure of
That
the
little
little
fucking,
creature gates.
yeah,
Yeah, but I was looking at I can't find it, but I got one somewhere.
I
Cool little
stole it.
creatures. You may have. Son of a
Very
bitch.
possible. Yeah. All right, so my first one this week is the reverse side of what Austin was talking about. So this is my February kind of movie pick of the month, which Austin recommended for me, and that is 2013's Dark Skies, which you can also find on Tubi. Good old fucking Tubi. So this is a story of a family and pretty normal family, 2 parents, 2 kids. And all of a sudden, like weird shit starts happening to them, particularly with one of the boys. It's just like really odd situations that are starting to happen in that house to the point where like the alarm starts going off, the doors open. So the dad has to get like a better alarm system. He has to get like cameras in the house to find out what's going on. It reminded me a little bit of like Insidious, like the beginning of it when Dalton started to exhibit some weird behavior. And then starts things start fucking escalating like crazy. For example, a bunch of birds just start like hitting the house out of nowhere from all directions. There's fucking dead birds all over, but just their house, like no one else's house. And eventually they start seeing kind of alien-ish figures and like really, really bad shit happening. The mom does a research on it, and there's this guy who knows a lot about it. He lives in the town. He's played by J.K. Simmons, and they go and see him, and he like basically confirms like, yep, if this is happening, you are about to be abducted by aliens. So it becomes kind of a, you know, trying to find a way not to be abducted by aliens for the rest of the movie. I had never seen this one. I'd heard about it, but it's been a long time since I'd heard about it, and I actually really enjoyed it. It's a dope, like alien abduction movie. You know, like I said, it reminded me a lot of Insidious in some ways. The way that the dark figure is kind of like in the background in some shots, and it has a scary take in Aliens, which I think we need more of. It also feels more, I guess, like real. It's not like too sci-fi where it's like almost unbelievable sci-fi. So I really dug that. And I really felt like I was going through the experience with the family, you know, kind of discovering these things bit by bit. And that was really cool as well. There are some points where I'm like, okay, this is a little bit too unbelievable for my liking. For example, when the birds start hitting the house and stuff, and there's dead birds literally all over the lawn, the government comes to like, you know, check it out, and they have like guys in hazmat suits like picking up the birds and shit. But the family's also still there, and they're picking up birds, and like no one gives a shit. Like that, no way they would have fucking quarantined that entire block if something like that happened. But just little like nitpicks like that. I also wish they brought J.K. Simmons in earlier and that you saw more of him and he had more an impact on the story. This is like one of those situations where I think they didn't have him very long. He's only like in his apartment basically, so it was probably like a 2, 3 filming days type of thing. But overall, I feel like Alien stuff, especially, I would definitely recommend this one. It's one of the better ones. So that's Dark Skies from 2013, and that is I give it 3.5 stars out of 5.
That's the one with Kerry Russell, right?
Yeah,
Okay. What's the one with Mila Djokovic?
fourth kind.
All right. I always confuse those two.
Me too.
I think I asked a trivia question a couple weeks ago about that.
You did. Yeah.
may have.
Or you did. Someone did.
Yeah, I think you did.
Oh, well.
Yeah, I'm real glad you
JK
like that one.
J.K. Simmons, he's from Whiplash, right?
Yes.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say, like, you go to his
Great
house, he's
movie.
just playing the drums
Yeah.
violently. Not my fucking tempo.
I don't know if anyone's seen Saturday. Has anyone seen Saturday Night yet?
Not yet.
No, I want
Yeah.
to.
He like he whips his dick out, and I mean I'm sure it's like a fake dick, but it, like he whips his like it
Plays the
goes
drums with it.
full on dong in it, yeah,
Just hanging dong. Just
yeah,
like our buddy
hang,
Nosferatu.
hangs dong in it. So yeah, exactly.
It's the year of the
That's fine.
dawn.
All right, Austin, you got one more for us?
I do, yes. Yeah.
All right.
So this one is so it was a 2022 movie in Spain, but it didn't get over here until 2024. And it's The Coffee Table. I think I remember hearing that on some people's like end of the year lists. I don't know how many of y'all have seen it, but I'm gonna try to be as vague as possible because there's not a lot to it, and oh, it's like it's tough because everything kind of starts off pretty crazy and then it just kind of goes from there. But basically, it's about this couple and they just had a baby and they are shopping for furniture and they're at this like kind of shady looking furniture store. And this guy is trying to sell them on this coffee table. And the husband really wants it. The wife is like, this thing's just ugly. Like, we don't need this thing. And they just kind of keep going back and forth. Like, they're kind of having a rough time. And she finally leaves. He's like, hey, I'm going to buy this table. Because the guy's like, hey, I'll give you a great deal on it. This glass is unbreakable. Just keeps talking this table up. And basically he gets it home and he's there with the baby. The wife goes to run to the grocery store because his brother and girlfriend are coming over later. And Past that, I don't really want to say too much about the plot because if people want to go in blind, I would recommend it. But man, it is a very, very bleak movie. Like it basically sticks the knife in and just keeps twisting. Like the dread and anxiety that you feel throughout this movie is just it's there the whole time. I mean, it's not I honestly wouldn't I don't want to say I wouldn't recommend this movie to a lot of people. It's like one of those where it's like if you know who you're recommending it to, go for it. But I wouldn't just be like, oh yeah, watch this movie, like check it out, because they're probably going to come back to you and be like, why did you recommend this movie to me? Like what is wrong with you? But it shot very well. I thought the acting was solid, the writing was solid, and it almost takes place like I don't want to say like real time, but the way that the story progresses is very like you kind of feel the way that it's progressing at like a normal pace where it's not just like bouncing around, like not a bunch of time skips and stuff like that. And everything just kind of like comes to a head at the end, and it's just crazy. But I would probably give this movie a 3 out of 5, mainly for I guess like the audacity of it going where it goes. But I wouldn't necessarily watch it again. I don't think it's one of those where I'm like, okay, I watched it. Like, I don't regret seeing it, but I wouldn't go out and just be like, everybody see this movie. So just know if you watch it, just you're in for a rough time. It's pretty sad. So that's the coffee table over on Prime, and it's actually coming to Shudder at the end of the month.
Excellent. Well, you sold me.
Yeah.
I'm
I mean,
gonna
it's
I'm,
yeah,
I'm
I mean
gonna
that
watch it for sure.
I like I said, I would say it's just be in for a bad time.
I,
But
yeah, I'm kind of sick like that. I like movies like that. So
yeah, yeah,
I always like movies that aren't afraid to like push those boundaries and stuff like that. So
yeah. But yeah, I if you do watch it, let me know what you think of it because
for sure, I'm probably
yeah.
gonna watch it this week, or
Okay, cool.
I'll probably try to report on it next week because like there's like I don't have like right now like I'm in like a rut where like I just don't want to go back and watch like old stuff,
Yeah,
like and I'm just like
looking for
and there's
something
just
new.
yeah I'm just looking for something. So I have to
Yeah.
I'm right now that's gonna jump to the top of my list, for sure. And I also have The Girl with the Needle, I think it's called or
Oh, I've
something.
never
I've
heard of
heard
that
some.
before.
I think it's nominated for an Oscar,
Oh,
and I guess it has a bit of horror elements to it. So.
okay.
That's another one I got to check out as well. I'm hearing, yeah, The Girl with the Needle. I think it's nominated for Best Foreign Language Film.
Oh,
So
really?
that's
Honestly, it's like
another,
an
yeah,
awesome year for horror at the Oscars and the Golden
yeah.
Globes. I mean, I was honestly surprised that The Substance, like Demi Moore won for that because Substance
I'm
was my favorite movie
shocked.
last year.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I I just had a guy from work watch it, and he like absolutely hated it. Him and his
Yeah,
wife hated it, and I'm like, well,
yeah.
yeah,
One of
like
my
all like basically like non-horror fan. I just like I feel like most non-horror fans are just gonna hate that movie,
What's his
but it's
name?
like
So we can shame him.
Mike.
Shout out
He's
to
actually it's
Mike.
actually my boss.
Shout
yeah,
out to Mike.
that's amazing. Yeah, one of my buddies, I was like, hey man, check this out. Like, this was my favorite movie last year. And after he was like, what? Like, what did I just
Yeah.
watch? And I'm like, oh, I
Right.
really liked it. It was kind of a bummer, but it is what it is.
Yeah. It's wild, yeah, because like if you're just not ready for that body horror and that last, so it's like people, it just throws people off like so
Yeah,
much, you know?
it
I
kind of
mean,
like the last part. I wouldn't
y-
say it goes like a 0 to 100 really fast because it kind of builds up, but it's like that
yeah,
last part just like hits you.
that it goes to 1,000. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
you're not expecting someone to like throw up breasts and whatnot, and just
yeah, no
it
joke.
happens. All right. All right, my last one tonight is another 2025 release, theater watch, Steven Soderbergh's new movie called Presence. This is one I hadn't heard a lot about. I feel like it didn't get like a ton of buzz going in, but I forget what I went and saw, and I think it was Wolfman actually, and I saw a trailer ahead of that, so I was immediately intrigued because I really like most of Soderbergh's movies, so I was like, let me dive into this. And his last horror effort, which was Unsane, I think we all loved that one. I think it was all in our top tens from the year, so I was really excited going into this. I will say, well, first I'll start with the plot. Basically, this one is a basic sort of haunted house type movie, but what makes this one interesting is that it's shot completely in the POV of the ghost. So I would call it like kind of found footage, the way it's shot. But yeah, I mean, we're essentially viewers, like the whole movie, it's like us just watching them. and it's done really interesting because I feel like the fact that like you actually can feel sort of he does a really good job of conveying the emotions of the spirit in this house without it ever talking or you ever seeing it. Like you really can like feel sort of this presence. But yeah, so we're following the ghost, and the family moves into this house, and the spirit is, you know, kind of adjusting to this family being in the house. And for the most part, we are following this young girl who's, you know, high school aged. We come to find out that her I won't get too spoilery, but we come to find out her friend has just committed suicide. And basically the whole movie, it's, you know, like this sort of family drama sort of is playing out between, you know, it's, you know, a mother, a father, and their two young children, both high school aged. The mother and the father are sort of dealing with, I guess, like you know, maybe on the precipice of a divorce, and the two, you know, kids are dealing with, you know, their high school stuff, and the daughter dealing with, you know, the suicide of her friend. And the most of the movie is like, you know, as the viewer, it's us watching this, but also trying to figure out like who is this spirit? Is it the girl's dead friend? Is it something else? And yeah, I'll leave it at that. You know, overall, I think this movie, as a horror fan, is going to be pretty divisive because I really feel like it's was mismarketed, like really misleading in the trailers. Because, you know, you're expecting this to be a horror movie, but for the most part, it's pretty much a family drama. For the most part, you know, we do get some horror, I would say, towards the end of the movie, but it takes its time to get there for sure. But overall, I mean, but with that said, I still think it's a very good movie for the most part. Like I went out being like, you know, that was actually really good. But as a horror movie, I think it fails. But as a family drama and an interesting haunted house movie, it succeeds. So you know, I'm kind of torn because I'm like, I was expecting a scary haunted house movie, and I didn't get that. But I still enjoyed what I watched. So I would recommend it, with the caveat is that don't go in expecting a horror movie. And I think you'll get more enjoyment out of it. It's not a top 10 worthy movie for this year for me, but I still enjoyed it for the most part. So I give it a 3.5 out of 5. And I would recommend it, especially if you're into, you know, ghost haunted house movies. Just know it's a classic ghost story rather than, you know, your, you know, Insidiouses or Conjurings or something like that. Presents from 2025. Go for it.
Two questions. Number one, how would you compare it to a ghost story, the
No,
A24 film?
damn it. I was gonna do the joke, Steve.
I have not
Damn it.
seen it, so
I
I
love that
can't
movie so much.
answer
Oh,
it.
you haven't seen it? Okay. I was going to
No.
ask you question number two. Is there
There's
a
not a
20
scene
minute
about
scene or so
yeah,
eats pie?
I know you guys have mentioned
It's
this
not 20
like 20
minutes.
minute pie
It's like
eating scene.
6 minutes.
It felt, it felt like fucking 20 minutes.
He watched it on a plane at like 10 o'clock at night. What do you
I
expect?
know.
Rewatch it. Damn,
Was
I
that
was gonna
worth
fucking make
was
a
it
joke
worth
about it.
checking out? Like I always see it come up and I'm like always tempted to
Ghost
pull the
Story?
trigger on watching it. Yeah.
I liked it a lot.
It's
But
Really?
interesting.
Okay.
It's
yeah.
Okay.
but it's slow.
It's
Yeah.
definitely a slow burn.
I think you'll
Yeah.
like this then, Todd, probably because I feel like it's
It
probably in a
sounds
similar
interesting, yeah.
vein. Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds very
Yeah.
interesting.
I agree with Joe about it being kind of like mismarketed because
Mm.
I like Neon needs to chill out with like, oh, this is the scariest movie ever, like where they put it like in every trailer. And I'm like, it's I don't know. It's just kind of frustrating. But yeah, I agree that it's kind of like it doesn't feel like quite as much of a horror movie as they advertised it to be. But yeah, it's
Yeah.
solid, but I would wait for streaming.
Mhm. Agreed.
Okay, so my last one here is 2003's Dreamcatcher, an adaptation from Stephen King. I read the book like 6 or 7 months ago, and I just got around to watching the movie. I watched it on tape, and man, check out this cast, dude! Like Morgan Freeman, Thomas Jane, Jason Lee, Damian Lewis, Timothy Olyphant, Tommy Sizemore, stacked, Donnie Wahlberg, stacked cast, man. And it's about four dudes that have been friends for their entire lives, just like every other Stephen King story, and now they're grown up, and they be going to this cabin every year for 20 years, and we learn through flashback that they befriended a mentally handicapped boy from when he was being bullied severely, and they, rescued him, turned into good friends to him, and in return, they received kind of like telekinesis powers, similar, like they can read thoughts and shit like that. And so now, like they're at the cabin, and then aliens are coming, dude. So now they got to figure out like how do you survive against the aliens who come out of your asshole? How do you survive against the military that's led by Morgan Freeman? He's trying to kill all the aliens. And then, man, like this fucking movie is awful. Like I read the cast up because that's a fucking stellar cast right there. But the writing is fucking so lame. It's so over the top. It's so cheesy. It's like I don't even know how to describe it because it was written by a dude, but it doesn't sound like this guy's ever hung out with guys before. Like they're talking like the way the dudes are supposed to be friends for 20 plus years. The way they're hanging out, just so unrealistic. Like they're really talking like this, really. They really like asking about stuff they all know about. Like, I don't know, it's just stupid. The effects are okay. They're really dated. You get that CGI from the early 2000s, but the butthole aliens is actually, kind of fun because the way you see that you're an alien or you have an alien parasite or whatever is that you start farting a lot. And like you have to take a giant shit and then it comes out your ass. But man, this movie goes downhill after the first 30 minutes and it goes into just stupid territory. Donnie Wahlberg gives a terrible performance as a mentally handicapped kid, all grown up. It's just so over the top and just downright silly where you're just like, what the fuck are they doing, man? Like he starts quoting Scooby-Doo, and I get it. The mentally handicapped kid loves it, but the way Donnie Wahlberg does the story or does the delivery of the line is just so fucking awful. The book I didn't love. I gave it like a 2.5 out of 5, and the movie, uh, ugh, it's bad. It's a 2 out of 5 for me. Not streaming anywhere. Like I said, I watched it on tape, but you don't need to watch this movie. This movie sucks.
All right. So final one this week is a film from 2022, but I think it actually released in 2024. That was just like festival run, and that is Moon Garden, which I watched over on Shudder. So this was the movie that we did on our movie club for January. So thank you everyone who showed up for that. Moon Garden is the story of a little girl. And I mean little. She's like fucking 3 or 4, and her parents are having like some serious issues. They're right at the precipice of either divorce or honestly maybe murder suicide. That's how like fucking like angry they are at each other, and they're constantly arguing and stuff like that. And at one point, there's a situation where the mom's about to leave, but the dad catches her before she like leaves with the kid. So they like bring the kid back in, put her to bed, and then start arguing in their room again. Kid goes to see them. She sees them arguing. She gets upset, so she runs down the hall and she trips on a toy and falls down the stairs and then slips into a coma. While in the coma, she goes into a dreamlike hellscape, and it's basically the story is about the family trying to like deal with this situation and trying to like work together even though they obviously hate each other, and the little girl trying to escape hell and come back to the real world and come out of her coma. So this is less of a conventional story and more of an experience akin to like Mad God, which I loved, and Skinamarink, which don't fucking get me started on it.
Hold on,
It's
pause. Did you see Skinamarink director got a fucking deal with a major
frustrated, of
major studio? I was like,
course.
what the fuck?
You know,
No, but anyway, good for him. Success, awesome.
yeah.
But gosh, damn, that movie.
Yeah,
Sorry,
I know,
Steve,
but
I'm making
if you
fun.
make a movie for like $5 and it becomes like that much of a hit, I mean, I get it. There could be potential there. So yeah, it's just like a lot of imagery essentially, like hell imagery. She goes from place to place within hell. There are different kind of creatures and weird looking dudes that play the piano and like all sorts of odd stuff in there. There's this one particular demon that's constantly hunting her. It kind of looks like the Crooked Man from was it Conjuring Part 2? It kind of has those vibes. He's kind of like this big mouth that like has like chattering teeth in it, and he's got this big hat and stuff. He actually looks really creepy. And yeah, that's basically the whole story. It's just her going from room to room. There really isn't much to it. Myself and all the people that were in the movie club with me did not like this movie. It was cool for a little bit, seeing all the hellish landscapes and stuff, but it got boring really, really quick. When the main demon came in, it was interesting, but he wasn't in it all that much. And when he wasn't there, oh my God, it was dull. The problem is, a 3-year-old is not a fucking interesting character to follow around for like an hour and a half, you know? You need to have someone who can react to these things. And that's another big problem I had with it. She's like barely reacting to what's going on. You know, like she should be scared out of her mind and there should be tension and you should feel like, oh my God, maybe these demons are going to get her. But you don't feel that at all. Like, you know, she's safe. She barely reacts to anything that's there. She's just basically like fucking skipping along from scene to scene, which really hurt the film significantly. I think if you want to see a story like this play out really well and you play video games, play a game called Among the Sleep, which is basically a little kid, a little baby that escapes and everything in the house is like scary to him. It's a really, really cool story. But this, I honestly, I'd pass unless you really like these experience type movies. So that's Moon Garden, which I watched over on Shudder, and I gave it 1.5 stars out of 5.
Ouch.
Yeah, I was
Ouch.
that, which was the highest score of anyone at the movie club, I'd like to point
All
out.
right.
So everyone else was 1 star or half a star.
What's the theme for next month, Steve?
Oh
You
my,
guys already have it?
I'm glad you asked because
All right.
this week we're going to vote for a movie for the February movie club, and the theme this month is horny horror. So
Oh.
I picked 5 really horny films that are just like absolutely random. Here, a few examples here. Let me just pull it up. Here we go. So a few examples here, just right out there. Stuff Stephanie in the Incinerator is going to be one of them. Horny Teenagers Must Die,
Oh.
Demon Seed, Killer Rack,
Ooh.
and I got to find 1 or 2 more to add to the
All
vote.
right.
So yeah, just trying to find some really out there movies because the last 2 we did, Malum and Moon Garden, were like very serious and dark,
Hmm.
and so I want something fun, and especially in a group setting, it's always the most fun is when they're really like crazy, like when we watched well, some of the other one, Rectuma, and
Rectuma.
yeah, some of the fucking, I mean, even which one did we watch the special on a stream? I think we did, and which is another one. It's just like wild. So
Very horny horror.
yeah, it'll be fun. So join our Discord, come to movie club. We'll have a lot of fun just discussing these absolutely crazy movies.
Nice. Speaking of Shudder, are you gonna watch Dark Match, Steve? I feel like it's right up your alley.
Not available in Canada, so no.
Not yet? Oh no.
No, they're I don't know. I guess we're just
Damn
not
it.
gonna get it.
Never
Yeah,
will be available in Canada, man.
never. And
Whoa.
so, and my plan originally was to watch it when I go to Carolina in March, but I might cancel that trip now.
Costs
So
you $4,000.
yeah. So I'm gonna have to miss Chris Jericho's amazing acting.
I was gonna say, isn't
Oh,
Jericho
man.
Canadian too?
Yes, he is Canadian.
What the hell? And they're not releasing that movie? Come on.
Better
All
get
right.
him dirty.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
for real.
Or maybe they didn't. Well, probably not. Probably a gift. Yeah.
All right. Well, if you want to join Steve for horny horror at the end of the month, make sure to join our Discord movie club every single month over there. Last Friday of the month, usually. But yeah, keep up on the Discord, and it's a great time as always. Even though I never attend, but I'll be there one of these times, I'm sure. All right, gentlemen, thank you so much for all of that. And now it is time with our special guest, very special round of trivia tonight. Austin will be joining in the fun. And why this is extra fun is if Austin gets the question right, he is stealing points away from us. So he has the opportunity to steal points away from all 3 of us. So Todd, for now, bust out the books. Let us know who's leading trivia.
All right, let me go through the stats here. All right, myself in the lead with 5. Your boy with 5. Steve and Joe both tied at 4 apiece. Austin coming in hot at 5 apiece too. Let's go. Who would like to? Let's let Austin, ease into it. I'll go ahead and start
Okay.
by asking Austin to pick between 1 and 1,500.
Oh man. Let's go 1,324.
Love it.
1,324. I love the specific number. That's just random. Let's go with. All right, man. In Vivarium 2019, how does Jesse Eisenberg attempt to escape the weird neighborhood that he and his wife are trapped
He
in?
digs a hole.
Correct. Digging a big hole.
Did you
Like
see that
it-
one, Austin?
No, I actually haven't. I
Oh,
remember that
bummer.
game
Watch
coming out,
it.
and I
It's a
just
good
never
one.
got around to
You
it.
should.
a good
Yeah,
one.
it's
Yeah.
a good one. All right, I'll go next. So all my trivia this week comes to us from Corey, which is
Corey.
another kind of new person in our
All
Discord.
right. Shout
Actually,
out Corey.
yeah, he was actually at the movie club this month,
Nice.
so it was really
Nice.
cool to talk to him. And I've been playing mini golf with him in VR. So
Sweet.
Ooh, I want to play.
yeah, definitely. I didn't even know it was an option until recently, Todd. So
Dude,
Well, I know. Well, we
dusted.
got the Quest 3
yeah.
upgraded from the Quest 1. Let's
So
go.
thank you. He sent all 3 questions this week. First one, movie we covered. In the movie The Mist,
Hmm.
what is the name of the grocery store they're held up in?
I have no fucking clue.
It's a great question.
That
It's a
is.
very plain name. Like it's
Hmm. Yes.
Um, let's go over to Tim's. Tim's grocery store.
no.
No,
Supermart.
There's no one's name in it. Just
no one's
that's-
naming it.
not
Supermart
Supermart,
sounds
no.
like a good one. Austin, you got one before we reset?
Oh man, top grocer.
No, I like it.
Wrong.
The grocery store.
Kings.
No. This was a tougher one, definitely. The toughest of the 3, but the answer was Food House.
I'm gonna
Okay.
put that in the book. That's good.
House.
That is a good one.
That's a good one. Putting it in right now.
Alrighty.
Food house. All right, go ahead.
All right, I'll go. Match the character to the movie.
Good.
And tonight we have Rustin Parr.
Oh, that's
Ooh.
Slumber Party Massacre.
Incorrect.
Slumber
what?
Party Massacre 2.
Incorrect.
Is it?
It's not the Slumber Party Massacre.
Sounds so familiar.
Yeah, it does.
Rustin.
It's something we've covered.
Something we've covered. Well, what decade we got?
Came out in the 90s.
90s. Oh, is it oh, Austin, do you have a guess?
No, I'm still thinking. You're good.
Is it I Know What You Did Last Summer?
Incorrect.
Fuck.
I can't. It sounds so familiar. It's
Rustin Parr, dude.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yes. Give up, everyone. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got nothing.
All right. The movie would be The Blair Witch Project.
Who's he? One of the interviews?
Rustin Parr. He is the one that killed all the children, made
Oh.
them stand in the corner.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Motherfucker.
Mhm.
You dirty dog. You.
Yeah.
I didn't say match the killer. I said match. He is a killer, but I said match the character
Yeah,
to the movie.
I like it. All right, Austin.
So, I guess this one, I don't know if you guys are gonna get this like exact, so we could just go like who's gonna get it the closest.
Okay.
In Late Night with the Devil, you're about to watch
Hmm.
the master tape of the Night Owls 1977 Halloween special with Jack Delroy. What is the episode number of the tape?
Ooh,
I'll grab the VHS. I'll be right back.
that episode number, huh? 1031.
Well,
I'm going to go episode 36.
nope.
I won't take the points, but when you guys are done, I'll give it to you.
Both of you guys are pretty far off.
Look at this tape, man, from
Yeah.
Umbrella. It's so freaking cool.
That's
That's
so cool.
really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was really impressed with that set.
Did you grab it?
Yeah, I did.
Oh hell
Yeah,
yeah.
Umbrella's been putting out some cool stuff.
Yeah, but their Terrifier, man, it's been delayed for another fucking month.
Wait, really? You still haven't gotten it?
Nah, you got yours?
Yeah.
Oh, you bastard! Did you get the whole like the,
You
the
bastard.
giant set?
Yeah, it was like it wasn't
the
the one that
figure
came with
and
like
everything?
or no, it wasn't the one that came with like the body pillow. It was like the one that just came with like the I'm trying to remember. It was kind of like came with like the glasses and the Lego set and everything.
Yeah, that's the one I
So yeah,
ordered.
the
And
little
said,
figure.
damn, and the VHS tape and all that.
Yeah.
Damn, you lucky dog, man. I didn't get
There's
mine
somebody
yet.
else in the Discord that was saying the same thing, that they like hadn't heard anything about it.
Yeah, weird.
That's strange. But yeah, if y'all want to take one more guess,
Yeah,
we can
I'll
just
go
like whoever gets-
666.
That's close.
Mm,
Not really.
No.
it's a little on the high end.
High end. Okay. Episode number 323.
Ooh, you're the closest. It was 335.
All
Nice.
right.
That's really close.
All right, I'm gonna pick a random here by just spinning the mouse wheel. All right, question number 1273. What country does Let the Right One In from 2008?
Sweden.
You're right. Yeah. Yeah.
Fast.
If
Johnny
it's
on the
not
spot.
American geography, I'm not that bad at it. All right. Still from Corey. In the movie Cabin in the Woods, which department bets on zombie redneck torture family being picked by the teenagers in the cabin cellar?
IT.
Wrong.
I got nothing.
Yeah, I'm blanking. Like I've seen that movie. It's been so
Yeah, I'm
long.
due for a rewatch. It's been a while.
Yeah, same.
Marketing.
Wrong.
Darn.
You guys want to guess?
Like janitor.
R&D.
What'd you say, Austin?
Janitor.
I'll take it. It's
All right.
maintenance, but
Yeah.
Oh,
hey,
really?
We'll take
that's
it.
close
Hey,
enough. Yeah.
Hey.
We'll give it
On
to
the
him.
board. Nice.
All right. 3 letterbox reviews.
Hmm.
Can you guess the movie? Every time the camera spun or twisted around a corner, my asshole shrank.
Tight butthole.
All right. Number 2. Nah, you couldn't have paid me to sleep there overnight.
The Deadstream?
Incorrect.
It's a good guess.
You're on the right.
That's a
You're on
good
the right
guess.
track, though. You're on the right track. All right.
I have an idea, but I don't want to say it.
Okay.
Say it.
And number 3. Can't sleep. Clowns will eat me.
Nope, that's not what I was thinking of.
Poltergeist?
Incorrect.
Dang.
Can't sleep. Clowns will eat me.
I know it's a quote from The Simpsons, but maybe they stole it from the movie.
Spun around. I'm gonna go. I don't know. It.
I will say incorrect. I will say it is a found footage movie.
Oh, it's oh. If I say any hints, you guys are both
Oh
gonna
yeah.
get it.
Oh, I do know it. Hell House.
Shut up.
LLC.
Yeah, it's Hell House.
Yes, correct.
Oh,
Dang
okay.
it! Why'd I say that?
I was like trying to think of found footage with clowns in it. I was like, what?
You know what? Every time Todd says, "Oh, I think I know it," for some reason, I get some kind of thing in my
It
brain.
unlocks your
Like,
power.
Your brain just goes into
downloads
overdrive.
it from his
Like,
brain. Yeah.
It unlocks your powers, dude. Every time
Yeah,
I say
it's
that.
weird. It's super weird.
I always get a slight headache, and then you get it. So maybe you are downloading it.
Yeah.
It's all that VR golf you're playing. It's like a
Yeah, probably.
brain bridge. Damn it! Big night for Steve. Coming in hot already.
Oh, so we're not even done. But
I know. Jeez. All right, who's up?
Austin.
Going up next.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Guess the movie from the Letterboxd reviews.
Nice.
Number 1. Really good at recapturing its time period, but this is nothing more than something to put on in the background for the atmosphere.
Ooh.
good.
All right.
Yeah, no idea.
Just the one review?
Just the
Oh,
one.
you go for the no, we got 2 more. I didn't know.
Okay.
All right. No, yeah. Keep going.
Take it for
This one might give it away. This shit got more ads in it than a YouTube video.
it.
The WNUF Halloween.
Yep.
Yeah.
Damn
Yeah,
it, Steve. Where are you
Halloween
coming
special.
from? Wow.
That's
Running away with it.
that's a good one. Very similar to Ghostwatch.
Yeah, that's in my notes.
They
for
definitely ripped
Ghostwatch.
it off. Yeah.
Yeah.
Back to
Alright.
Todd.
Last round.
Yeah. All right. Question number 1106 in The Menu from 2022.
Currently now on Netflix. For those of you who have missed
Is
it.
it?
Yes.
Oh. What food item has secrets laser printed on them of each restaurant guest?
Is it the buns?
Incorrect.
Food item that has laser printed on it.
Correct.
Mm.
Has some hidden
God,
words and shit.
Yes. Bread?
That's what I said.
Incorrect. I would have.
Oh,
Yeah.
did you say bread? I'm sorry. I didn't
He
hear.
said buns.
I like my brain just like shuts off anytime he gets asked something. What?
Do you know this one, Todd?
Well, it's written down on my book.
Yeah, but you have to say it.
Oh, no, I'm not even gonna look at the fucking thing anymore.
It's a food item?
Yeah, it's something you would eat. Very common. A lot of people in the world eat it. It's very common food. That's the last hint I'm giving.
Crackers?
No.
Steak.
Steak or stank?
Steak.
Incorrect. The correct answer
fries?
is no. The correct answer is tortillas.
Oh,
That's right.
Tortillas.
that's what it was.
Okay.
That's been a
that's
minute
fine.
since I've seen that one too.
All right, this is the easiest one that he sent. So you guys are gonna have to be quick with this one.
Let's see.
In the movie It, which member of the Losers Club finds an eyeball inside of their fortune cookie during dinner at the restaurant?
George.
Wrong.
No.
That's fucking.
No.
Damn it! I did it again.
Richie.
That's correct.
Fuck,
Richie.
man.
Thank you.
Fucking asshole tonight.
Joe and I went to the restaurant that inspired
Yes.
that scene.
In
That's really
Maine.
cool.
Yep.
And
That's
us
awesome.
and no one
So
else,
Chinese.
apparently, because we're the only people at that restaurant.
Hey, the food, it was really good though. The
Yeah,
food
It was good.
Chinese place.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Did they have like
That's cool.
memorabilia and stuff up, or were they just kind of like,
Nah.
No, but they had a
Really?
room that looked a lot like the one in the movie, even though it wasn't
Yeah.
filmed there.
really?
Oh, really?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's like a restaurant that's I want to say it's like I'm blanking on the name of it. It's not Bastrop, but it's called Hooper's, like where the Texas Chainsaw Massacre house is, but they only have
Mhm.
like a picture up. And there's no like nothing else about Texas Chainsaw Massacre in it. So it's just kind of like, hey, this is it. And then they just kind of disregard the
That's
you
a
know, no
bummer.
other memorabilia or anything. That's kind of
Yeah.
wild.
The gas station sounds awesome though. Like
Mhm.
they've
Yeah, I've been
really
wanting to-
gone into it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's super cool.
Mm-hmm. Alrighty, last one for me. Guess the movie based on the IMDb information. This movie was released in the year. And I have a theme tonight, so if you remember the first two movies,
I
this
do.
might
I
help you.
don't.
That
I
might
don't.
help
I
you.
don't at all.
All right, this movie was released in the year 2011, clocking in at 1 hour and 32 minutes. Categorized as supernatural horror, horror, mystery, and found footage horror. Currently rated at a 6.1 over on IMDb with a Metascore of 33.
Ooh.
Quite a difference. Quite a difference.
That's a big difference.
Directors, the Vicious Brothers.
Ish, that's a name.
Starring Benjamin Wilkinson, Sean Rogerson, Ashley Grisco, and Juan Redinger. Tagline: they were searching for proof. They found it.
I like that. That's pretty good. 2011.
Is that it?
No,
That's it.
don't know any of those
I'm
actors.
I'm gonna try Butterfly Kisses.
Incorrect.
Oh, okay. I like where you're going with it, though.
Great movie.
Rest in peace, to that director, right?
Yeah.
Bummer.
Yeah, I will say there's no recognizable actors. I literally went down the line.
You would if you don't. I
It's-
guess if you don't know the Vicious Brothers, you're not gonna get it because that's like pretty.
Yeah.
It's a very popular one, I would say, in the found footage realm of horror
2011
movies.
found footage. What the hell?
Mhm.
They wanted proof. They found it.
Yes.
Is it? No, because that's the fucking. Did you get the director for this? You did. Vicious Brothers.
The Vicious
yeah,
Brothers.
that's right.
Correct.
I have no clue.
2011.
Oh, no idea.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Any guesses, Austin?
I got nothing.
All right. I would think Stephen Todd definitely seen this. I don't know about you, Austin, but it's a movie called Grave Encounters.
Craven.
Oh, yeah. I
Okay.
have seen that one. I completely forgot about that.
Yeah,
Vicious
me
Brothers.
too. That was not in my Rolodex at all.
It's a good one.
Was that one of those dark ride franchises, or what was it? Dark films or something? like
No, it wasn't. 10, 12 films to die for, or whatever
There you go,
that was
yeah.
called. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is
No,
that
it
the one
wasn't.
that ends with like a girl getting pulled like in a kind of dark?
And that was Wreck, I think.
Yeah, Wreck. Yeah.
Oh, that's what I'm confusing it with.
Yeah.
Okay.
Grave Encounters is like sort of set up similar to Ghostwatch in some ways, where they're like a reality, sort of a Zach Baggins type show, and they go
it's like
into
Ghost Adventures. of
yeah, exactly, yeah, and they go into, I believe it's a mental institution,
Like
or
Gunsham
something.
Asylum that we covered.
Yeah,
and stuff?
exactly. Yep.
What do you guys feel about Zach Baggins?
I mean, he seems like a scam artist
Yeah.
from everything I've heard about him. But I never watched Ghost Adventures really, so I can't talk too much on him. But
I respect the fact that he's like preserving these items and putting them in the museum, like a lot of like horror stuff and real like quote unquote horror stuff, and so I like that. But he also
I heard he started a production company and is going to start
He
like
did.
doing horror movies.
He
Yeah.
made a movie. I watched it a couple years ago. I forget what
Oh
it's
yeah,
called.
Demon
Did
House,
he
right?
do it with,
Was it
I
Demon
know he did
House?
do Demon House. He did another one with like he teamed up with Eli Roth for like some.
Huh.
It was like a movie based on like each of the like haunted objects or whatever that they had like in the
That's cool.
museum. I'm pretty sure it was that one, but I know he's worked with Eli Roth at some point.
I
Too.
just like when he
It was
threatens to
okay.
fight Ghosts.
I know it's like
Why'd you come out and fight me, Ghost? Push me, Ghost. I'm like, bro, relax.
yeah, it's ridiculous.
He
I
also
actually, yeah.
All
I
right.
actually thought Demon House was pretty good though.
Yeah,
I just don't like it because he always goes to the same bag of tricks where he's like, I feel like something,
Yeah.
I'm getting possessed, and now like I'm gonna be mean. He starts being mean to all his castmates, like fuck you, man. And then he comes back like, hey man, sorry I was possessed. Like, bro, you can't be possessed every fucking episode, man. We
yeah. I
gotta
hope they're
do
getting
something
paid
else.
well.
Yeah. I'll kill
Crazy.
you, bro. Haunt me. All right, I'm done.
but all those shows are like that's the problem with those shows, right? Like I used to watch Destination Truth a lot, where they go to haunted places, and every commercial
Yeah.
break is like, "What was that?" Then it cuts to commercial, and
Yeah.
it comes back, it's like, "Oh, it's nothing." Yeah, like
Just-
Yeah,
every
it's
other.
just like, oh
someone-
no, like the camera got tripped over something.
Yeah, someone's sharding.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, sharding.
That's my thing though, is like when you have an hour-long show and there's like 75 instances of a quote-unquote haunting,
Right.
there's something wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if it's that easy to prove that like afterlife, then like everyone would have it. You know what I mean?
That's right.
Mhm.
It's just I don't know. Are we done with trivia?
No,
No, we got one more.
with
Austin.
Oh, Austin,
I got a guess the movie based on IMDb information.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
let's go.
So this one was released in 2008. It's not rated.
Oh,
It is an hour and 33 minutes, categorized as zombie horror, and sci-fi.
Oh,
It has a rating of 6.5 out of 10 on IMDb and a Metascore of 54 out of 100.
nice.
Director Bruce McDonald.
Oh.
Oh.
It's oh my god. I know exactly-
Pontypool?
Yes.
Yes.
Fuck.
Yeah,
Damn it.
yeah.
We interviewed
Yeah.
him, so
We interviewed him. Yeah.
Yeah,
What movie
did
did we
try to go
interview
with,
him
like,
for?
broadcast stuff.
I
not
can't
Pontypool.
remember.
It was
Pontypool.
No.
whatever he was like releasing that.
Yeah.
I don't remember though.
I
What did
can't
y'all
remember
think of
anything.
Pontypool?
I didn't like
It was pretty. I liked it. I thought it was pretty good. It wasn't like anything amazing, but
No.
I thought it was interesting.
I thought the premise was kind of like
The premise
Yeah.
was cool. Like I thought the premise was cool, but like I feel like
it was
didn't.
unique.
The fact that like they never actually showed anything outside was kind of like it was like
Right.
blue balls, you
Yeah,
know?
it was like everything was just like contained.
yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
But yeah, they definitely took a swing on that one.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I appreciate the the effort, but it just wasn't for me. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't like it
Probably
as much as I thought I would. Like I still enjoyed it. but
Yeah.
I was kind of expecting more out of it.
Mhm.
Have
Yeah,
you
I
guys seen
agree.
The Battery?
no,
No.
Oh, that's a good example of like a really low budget zombie film that I think everyone would like.
Really.
Okay.
you
Yeah,
just
I
made
think
the
it's
Is
list.
that called The Battery?
The Battery, yeah, and it was
Okay.
made for like $1,500 or $5,000, some of that similar to our budget, and they fucking knocked it out of the park. So
Really? I'll have to check that
one
out.
out. Yeah. All right. Well, here's the books. Steve with the big night, back-to-back weeks, 4 points. Joe 3, Austin 1, myself performance anxiety got 0 points. Yeah, so that brings Steve to lead with 8, Joseph 7, myself 5, Austin 6. I fucking suck. So, yeah. Thanks for playing though, man.
Yeah, it's fun.
thanks for the
Yeah,
thank
that
you for
was
the
fun.
points. I was expecting
Awesome.
a big fat 0.
No, people think like we get sometimes online like, oh, you should have got. It's harder than it looks.
It is, especially whenever you have
yeah.
to think of it like on the spot. It's just
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
it's like a Rolodex that just doesn't want to work.
Yeah.
Not just think on the spot, but you got fucking 3 other guys like staring at you, like
Yeah,
Yeah, I know. Just like, oh, I gotta get it before they
Pressure.
do.
Yeah,
Pressure.
It's not easy.
Especially
No.
when you ask a super easy one, you think it's too easy, so you don't answer it, and then a
Right.
sad answer, you're like, fuck.
Yeah. 100%.
Alrighty. Well, thank you, gentlemen. And now we'll head into our main event of the evening, 1992's Ghostwatch, directed by Leslie Manning and starring Sarah Green, Mike Smith, Craig Charles, and Michael Parkinson. Plot: in a live broadcast on Halloween night, a BBC team investigate a reported poltergeist in an ordinary London home. Pretty bait. Yeah, I'd say that's pretty good, IMDb. But know who gives even better plots? Todd.
Oh, well, I'll try. All right. So we open up on, you guys watched Unsolved Mysteries, right? Back in the day? We
Yes.
kind of open up on like on a show like that. An older gentleman, he's talking about stuff, got a sweet British accent. He's like, we're gonna go show you guys a paranormal investigation, dudes. We got live freaking reporters at this house, right? We get a clip of two young girls, they're sleeping in their room. Hey, turn your fucking light off. Your mom's gonna get mad at you. I'm reading a magazine. Fuck, and turn it, whatever. And then something happens and they get scared and they run off and we're like, oh, was that a paranormal incident? I don't know. So shoot forward a little bit, and we, the viewers, are explained to that we're going to go along with the ride on this reporters in this special edition show, where we follow the reporters as they go into this allegedly haunted house and try to like, is it real? Yeah, are the people full of shit? What's going on, right? So we follow the investigation. We have the couple reporters in the house, camera crew, things like that. Meanwhile, we have like a quote unquote expert back at the studio, and they take calls from people calling in saying like, "Yeah, dude, I had a ghost encounter this time," or "Oh shit, rewind the tape from that house, dude. I think I saw a figure in there," and they're like trying to figure it out. You got skeptics and everything like that. So yeah, we're just gonna see if it's real or not, and we follow the investigation. So before I say my initial thoughts, Austin, why'd you pick this one, bud? I know you talked about, ghosts being one of your things earlier, but why this one tonight?
So I really like the lore around this movie because it not a lot of people really know about it, or at least not that I know of, but it kind of felt like it kind of went through the cracks for a lot of stuff like that. And I haven't ever really seen a movie where it's been put on public broadcast somewhere where a bunch of people just kind of got like duped, where they're like, oh, they thought it was real. Cause I mean, even though it was, put the written by, basically like opening credits type thing, a bunch of people, called in. They were like, what is this? Like, they had a bunch of complaints later on about, their kids being terrified, stuff like that. Like, I've just never really, I'm sure there's other, like Blair Witch, was kind of like a, version of that where people were like, oh, was this real, type thing. But the fact that a public broadcast station like put this out and then duped people, I was like, man, this is crazy. Like, I mean, I wouldn't say it's like the scariest movie ever or anything like that, but I don't know, just for like what they did, I was very impressed with having to keep it where it was still like, I don't want to say family friendly, but where they didn't have like a bunch of, it was like trying to think of the word for it, like not sterile enough to put on public broadcast, but still scare people. And I don't know, it was just really like interesting to me, I thought.
And what number is this? How many times have you watched it?
I've only watched it like a couple times. So
Okay.
I actually found out about it last year and I was like, oh, this is awesome. Like anytime somebody, asks for like a recommendation or something that,
Mhm.
something that may not have heard of, I usually, will recommend Ghostwatch because I'm like, it's just kind of like an interesting, like, I guess kind of time capsule of that, back in the 90s when, the internet wasn't a huge thing and, where you could just be like, I feel like we're so cynical now where it's like aliens could touch down and people would be like, oh, this is like AI and stuff like that. But it's just, it was kind of cool. I don't know, just whenever I watched it, I was like, oh, this is interesting.
Very cool. Yeah, so my brief thoughts on it is I enjoy the concept of this movie quite a bit. And I love that, like you mentioned, the time capsule aspect where, you know, what, 10, 15 years ago tops is where we trusted the news for all of our factual entertainment and news and stuff. And now it's all bullshit, you know what I mean? And you got Facebook and all this crap feeding into it. So like the fact that they were able to pull this off. Now from our eyes, it's like, come on, people, but in 92 or whatever, yeah, this shit fucking bricks, like watching this. So I really appreciate that. I like that, like the technical achievement of it is really cool, like reading like how they made it. But I do have some issues with it, and that might be because it was a 92 film. But what about you guys? How you feel about it?
Yeah, so I this is one I've never seen before. I've heard about it multiple times. Like obviously when Late Night with the Devil had come out, like I knew a lot of people talked about that. And also like when I was really into WNUF, especially when it first came out, a lot of people compared it to that. So I was excited to finally go and check this one out. And yeah, man, I thought overall I enjoyed this one. I mean, I do think it's definitely like a slow mover and it takes its time, but I think that was sort of intentional, especially like with BBC, because BBC is sort of known for like making like it felt like very, I guess, authentic that like you're sort of watching like a real time thing. But I think like the fact we're not watching this live like on Halloween night when it happened, I think watching this as a movie now, like the it could have like moved at a little bit better of a clip, but I think the back like you got to take into account the backstory of this whole thing. Like I think it's really really awesome. Like it's very modern day War of the Worlds, because most people like aren't watching it from the beginning. So most people just turn this on Halloween night, on BBC, and we're like, "Whoa, what is this?" And it feels so incredibly authentic, and it's really cool. And I really loved sort of the lore of this sort of demon like or like this really bad guy that was inhabiting this house. I really liked all that, and I liked where they went with it. I just think it needed to move at a little bit better of a clip, but it held my interest for sure. I really thought it was like super interesting, and I kind of tried to immerse myself into okay, like and put myself in the shoes of people when I watched it like on that night and how they would have felt. So yeah, overall, I mean, I'm glad I watched it. I think it's really cool. It's something I could see myself watching maybe not every single Halloween night or whatever, but it's definitely something I could see myself, turning on every few years and kind of having a fun time with it.
Yeah. So I'm a big ghost fan. Like it's the ghosts and zombies are my two favorite subgenres of horror. And this is exactly the type of thing that I would have loved in like the 90s, like when it came out and stuff like that. I really miss a time where I used to watch like these live events, like paranormal live events, or even like historical live events. I don't know if you guys remember when they used to do like, oh, we're gonna open Al Capone's vault live on the air, or we're gonna open like this Egyptian tomb that's never been opened before live on the air. And it gave me kind of those vibes where you're super anticipating kind of this thing to happen. But it similar to this movie, it takes so long to get there that my mind starts waning off. And so the movie is almost like has the same issues that I would have with a broadcast that does the same thing. I found it just took too long to get to the good stuff, and once we did get to the good stuff, it wasn't like enough to for me to be like, oh my God, that was like totally worth the wait. But there's definitely a lot of really cool things about this movie as well. I love that it kind of emulates the Enfield Poltergeist, which is also what Conjuring 2 was about. And I loved the kind of like I love seeing ghosts really quickly kind of in the background, which we see a couple times in this movie.
Hmm.
I just love that in every time that they do that. The one thing I didn't love, I will admit, I don't like that it translated to the studio. Like I thought that went too
Mm.
far. I wish they had contained it to the house. It would have felt more real to me than like it's fucking in our computers now and it's like taking over the studio. I wish they had removed that because I think I would have come out higher had they not done that whole thing.
Yeah, I agree. Like I think one of my biggest complaints also was how long it takes to kind of get going. And I also agree with like the studio thing where it's like it didn't I know they were like, oh, it's a massive seance because like everybody was like
Mhm.
tuning in or whatever, but like it just felt kind of like it cheapened it a little bit. It's kind of like I don't know. But I didn't even realize for the first couple times that like how many times they call him like the pipes ghost, how many
Hmm.
times he shows up like in the background.
Hmm.
Like I think it's like 6 or 7 different times, and I didn't even like catch some of them. Like there's one where they're going to like the playground, he's like in the crowd, which that one like honestly looks kind of terrifying. But like the in the mirror, all that kind of stuff. There's like I don't remember all the exact times that they did it, but yeah, I think for the time that it came out, like I was impressed with what they did, but I do think I don't know if they were worried about scaring people too much because they said originally like their goal wasn't to like trick people or scare people and stuff like that. Well, I think they wanted to scare people, but like not, be like, oh yeah, this is 100% like a legit broadcast. Like they put out, I think even in like their TV guide, like beforehand, they put, like at 9:25 Ghostwatch and it had like a write up and everything. So it was like people knew that it was coming, but yeah, I think overall it was like they made it feel as real as I guess they could have for the most part, besides the studio part. Like I really like that part of it that they didn't try to, make it cheesy or have a bunch of like CGI that just didn't work and stuff like that. But I don't know who decided to call the cabinet under the stairs a glory hole. But like I'm glad they called it like the pipes ghost and not like the glory hole ghoul or something. That would have been worse.
Who
I
are
was
you
just
talking
like,
to? I'm
awesome.
talking to Glory Hole.
yeah, I was just like,
What?
what? Yeah, I was like, I know the like British people have all kinds of different slang for stuff, but
Yeah, it's
I
funny.
was like, man, that's a choice.
What exactly is the glory hole? Like, what is
Well,
that under? Is that like where like
it's a
pipes are
small
under? Is that
hole
why they
that you
call
put
it
your
Pipes Ghost? Well, that in the movie.
oh, in the
Like I assume it's like it
it-
seemed like a little door like under the stairs you would get
Yeah, it was
to
like
like
a
get to certain
it's where
pipes
Harry
and shit
Potter
like
fucking
that.
lives, man, under the
yeah,
stairs.
yeah, Harry Potter lives in the glory hole. But yeah, it's just it was such
Imagine
a
if Harry
weird
Potter said that in the movie.
Dude,
Get
the
back in
scene
in your glory hole, Harry.
this I love the scene when they open the glory hole and you sort of see like the
That was cool.
Yeah.
figure.
That was
yeah,
That was
that
excellent.
was cool.
that was fucking cool and really sort of like unnerving. It definitely made my like skin like go up a little bit when that
Yeah,
happened. I was like, oh, that was really cool.
I thought that was
That
a
that
scary scene, personally.
that was a really effective, yeah, that was a really
yeah.
effective scare scene. I also think it's amazing that the number was real and like people could actually call in and so apparently some of the calls are real, like that we hear like in it, like which I think is fucking awesome. I guess like I was reading on IMDb that like when they answer the phone, they're like, this isn't real, but if you'd like to come on and like tell a legit like ghost story or something you've experienced, you can. So, I mean, I think that's fucking awesome. And it really adds to the authenticity of people who were like watching it, live on TV. Also, kudos to the fucking host guy. He is awesome in this. I just love his whole performance and he really adds, I love how he's sort of the skeptic, like throughout, sort of, and I thought that was great. And they have like sort of the expert. I mean, obviously, like man, I mean, after watching like Late Night with the Devil last year, and then watching this, like sort of like you could see like how heavily inspired they were, which I thought was really cool. Like going back and watching this now.
Because I know Michael Parkinson apparently was like a big um like presenter over there. So like I think him, Sarah Green, and then Mike Smith were like the ones that were legit like TV personalities. And then Craig Charles was an actor that I guess was just playing himself in this, but then everybody else was like actors. And but yeah, I thought it was kind of interesting too that kind of adds to like people watching this and being like, oh, this must be legit, was just because they took actual, be like if we saw like Wolf Blitzer or something over here, like showing a ghost hunt or something, like it kind of makes it more believable at the
Yeah.
time. But yeah, I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up Craig. I fucking hate Craig, man.
I know.
I hate Craig. I
In his
wanted to
Bears
slap him
jacket.
around. Just shut up, man. Why is he wearing a Bears
That is
jacket?
so random.
I'm like, oh, what is that? I'm like, Chicago Bear. What the fuck? 92? Okay. But yeah, Craig, he's just got that like I want to be funny, cool,
Yeah.
cool. Like I'm like, shut up, Craig. But you know who's fucking cool? Sarah's hot as fuck, dude. I have a massive crush on
She's the
Sarah,
one in the
dude.
house, right?
She's a
Yeah.
blonde, yeah.
Yeah, the ball in the house.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm in love with her from this movie, man. She's great. How do you? I mean, we always talk about it. Kids can make or break the film. How do you guys feel about these two girls?
I thought they were fine. Like they didn't take me out of it. I thought they felt pretty authentic to me. Like I never felt like they were like overacting or being like fake or anything like that. So I thought they were good.
Yeah, same. Like they didn't sway me either way. It's not like, oh my God, great performance or oh
Yeah,
that they ruined the film. They were just there.
right.
So
Yeah.
speaking of the kid actors, do you think like the part, which I may just be looking too much into this, but since she was kind of, 'cause what was it, Susie was like the older one
Something.
or Suzanne or something,
Hmm.
I think. Whenever she was like banging on the pipes and stuff, like, do you think that was actually her? Do you think she was starting to get like possessed by the ghost to try to get them out of the house to be like, oh, hey, maybe if I bang on these pipes, it'll like get this crew out of here because it's fake? Or do you think that was just her kind of like acting out?
I think it was her acting out because she admits that.
Hmm.
Because she's
Okay.
like, because I think she says something along the lines of like nothing was happening.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like she wanted to prove that it was, but she's just a little shit.
Mhm.
There's cameras all around. So what do you think?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Like
Um,
Steve mentioned, I think I mean, honestly, even the house looks like the Enfield
It
yeah,
does.
look
poltergeist
at I
The,
thought
house.
it
the
was
Like,
room
yeah.
does, the
Yeah,
girls
yeah,
pretty
do.
similar.
Yeah.
yeah.
It
So
has
I
to
think
be.
they were definitely heavily inspired by that. And those girls were like known to do stuff like that. So I think it was like definitely playing on that story.
Yeah. I like the dude that they interviewed and his face was blurred out. And the ghost that was fucking with him was just spitting and fucking shitting all over the place. That was his ghost. Like it's bunch of it looks like spit. So I can just imagine the ghost like just taking shits, spitting, and that's all he does. He doesn't scare him, just spits. I was like, dude, poor guy. And then Kevin and his pickle and cheese sandwich. Like,
That's a
I
what?
choice.
mean,
Well, that's a
I,
choice. Yeah,
it's not the
Maybe I won't knock
worst
it till I
thing.
try it, but
I,
I've heard weirder combos.
yeah.
I guess. But yeah, I mean, he's comfortable. So you
Mhm.
do you.
A couple notes I have. First of all, I don't know if you guys noticed, but Dr. Silvestri, he's the one in New York, sounds exactly like Jeff Goldblum. Has the
I
same
thought that too.
I
accent,
did
some
not.
cadence.
I
Like
didn't take
if you
that.
close
Yeah,
your
like the way he
eyes,
talks.
it's basically Jeff Goldblum. It's crazy. The other note, though, and kind of a nitpick, is there's a lot of stuff like okay, they hear a banging noise in a certain room, and they're like okay, run after it, and you see kind of Sarah like going up the stairs with the fucking camera and everything like that. But there's a camera in that room, so why are they never cutting to the cameras that are?
That's a good point.
I like forgot that there were stationary cameras at some point, but later
Right.
on they show them like kind of room per room. I'm like, wait, why are they never cutting to those cameras if there's a room if there's a noise in those rooms? It didn't make
Hmm.
sense to me. Yeah.
Yeah, roll back the tape or something.
Hmm.
I did like when they lost connection and they thought they were all happy go lucky,
Oh yeah, yeah,
sitting around the table playing cards or
yeah.
whatever. But
That
then
was the
meanwhile,
ghost, right? Like the ghost
Yeah.
playing tricks or
yeah,
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, that was cool. Um, I man, just like the stuff that they wanted to do too, that they didn't. There was I guess like the filmmaker, they wanted to put a high pitched noise so like people's dogs and pets would like bark and
Oh,
stuff like
really?
that to like freak people out even more.
That's
But
crazy.
apparently they couldn't get approval for it or something like that. But I think that's fucking awesome. It would have been even better. But yeah, I mean the fact that like man, I just can't imagine like watching this with your kid. Like they said it caused like PTSD in children and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I mean it's crazy. Like and I'm sure they probably got. I wouldn't doubt if they got some lawsuits like on this or whatever. Like
Well,
I
I
think
think the
it's crazy.
I think the BBC also was like afterwards they didn't re-air it like ever. Like I think it just
Yeah.
recently within like the last 15 years or so started coming back and actually being there was some company I think that put it on like Blu-ray or something that I would like to find,
Wow.
um
It said they
but
took
yeah.
an estimated 1 million phone call inquiries and comments the night of the transmission.
Wow, that's
That's
crazy.
fucking that's insane. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool that it's gotten like a cult following for sure. I feel like it's a very niche cult following, but like people who remembered it, obviously like I don't know if it aired like in America like the night it happened or whatever. I doubt it. Like I feel like this was probably just a thing that was over in Europe or whatever. But I mean, it's fucking cool, and I wish like there was something similar here, but I can't think of anything that happened
Well,
Yeah,
like
I
yeah,
mean,
me
we
neither.
for
got like
us.
live alien autopsy and shit.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
that was
I
a big one.
suppose.
That was a huge one.
But
Speaking
that
of
was
the
like,
anticipation, I remember waiting for that. Like, oh, come on,
Yeah,
when is
yeah.
he? Yeah. I got one more note here. I think the story of the dude that killing himself in the glory hole was really effective because
yeah,
like he
I
locked
loved it.
himself in there with the cats and then they got
Hmm.
hungry. I'm like, oh shit, that's really cool. And he was like locked in there for I don't know a week or two or something like that. So he's probably festering and yeah, it's
It's
pretty
looking pretty
brutal.
gnarly.
Yeah,
You hear the cats too, right? At some
yeah.
point,
Yeah,
I
they're
feel like
like
yeah. Mhm. Yeah, that's
I
pretty
was
cool. I loved it. Yeah, I think he's like the story's really effective. It would like made it even scarier that he's sort of like a really evil, sort of disturbed entity. Which was cool. I agree with Steve though. I do think the seance thing was a bit much. It's like well, and like how does that even make sense to me? Like how is that like there wasn't any sort of like ritual done or like
Yeah, they
anything to
didn't
make us
summon
think it's a
anything.
seance, right? So like why would just people watching make it a huge
Did they
seance?
say seance or did they say poltergeist?
I think she said seance. She's
Did
like
they?
this we created like one massive
Hmm.
seance is what she's
yeah.
Yeah,
saying.
you're right though. It makes no sense. There was
Yeah.
nothing, no Ouija board, no
Yeah.
spell, anything. Huh.
Like they should have done a Ouija board scene and then it would have made sense,
They should have killed Craig too.
Yeah, fuck Craig.
Just fuck
Yeah,
Craig,
great.
piece of shit. He's like listening, like, oh,
Does anyone die in this though? There's no one dies, right?
just the guy
I
that
don't
got eaten by
remember.
cats.
Yeah, that might have been
Well, because
too extreme, like for people
Right.
watching if
well,
someone
because I know,
died.
like, doesn't Sarah go into the glory hole?
At one
Yeah,
point, does she
yeah.
climb in there?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
towards the end she like goes in. I don't know
Yeah,
because
what's
the
the
camera
very
guy's like,
ending?
"Hey, stop!"
Well, with the girl, no, with the little girl though, because I think she follows
Oh
her in,
yeah,
and then the door shuts behind her.
yes, yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah,
So
So
it's
it's to
implied.
assume maybe. Yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
But
it
yeah, I think the
ends
only other guy that got
it
hurt was
ends with him in the studio, right? We see pipes in the studio, like behind um
Yeah.
the reporter there or whatever, and then it just cuts to black.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was a cool
The
ending.
Blu-ray is about $30, Austin,
oh really?
online.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's not bad.
uh, 30th anniversary or something like that.
Oh, that's really cool.
Which is, oh yeah, 92. I guess I don't know. All right,
We're
anything
I
souls.
else?
w I was
And
expecting more from like the tech guy. Like they kind of talked him up, like, oh, we like rigged the house with all this stuff. Like I thought they were gonna
Right.
kind of bring in like different
oh,
stuff,
the
but
dude in like the trailer. The
yeah, he just
yeah,
kind of was like there and then just
Mhm.
kind of never
he didn't
got
do
brought up
shit.
again. I'm kind of surprised they didn't do more with the like that, not the like the infrared camera or
Yeah.
whatever. I was
Right.
expecting to see something like in the
Yeah,
background or whatever,
Right.
but
yeah,
they
they
were
Does he
just
go
kind of
didn't.
like,
speeding off
yeah.
in the corners?
Oh.
We
Get
caught
out of my glory hole!
Hand
it.
job cabin.
Visitor.
Oh, that's a fucking amazing trailer, dude.
Yeah, it is.
But yeah, I was kind of expecting them to do more with that than they did. It was just
Mm,
kind of like, hey,
agreed.
it's tech and
Yeah.
that's it.
And something I wish they did, because I ended up having to do it myself, which is annoying, is they get these calls being like, we saw a figure in the back of this room and they describe it, it's fucking
Yeah,
scary, but they never go back to the footage. They
They
don't
did one
like
they
time.
did the
what
first time.
yeah,
Yeah,
but
the
not
first
never
time.
again.
Yeah.
You're like,
Right.
what's the
Yeah.
point? Like
But that figure keeps disappearing in that, right? When they go back and forth to that
Yeah.
first
You
one.
see him you
yeah.
see him for a second and then you don't see it
Okay.
again. Yeah. So, which
So
was
my
cool. It was like a cool way to sort of
so I wonder if you
trick the
watch the
viewer.
movie. I wonder if you watch the movie from the beginning. Do you see the figure there, or is it or you only see it when they say you see it when it
I think
comes
they
back around?
only see like
Yeah.
you see it and then like they keep looking and it disappears. Like it was a good way to trick
Mm,
the audience like in real time.
gotcha.
Which is
Yeah,
pretty
it's like,
cool.
yeah, it was like the first time they showed it, you see it, and the next time they don't. And then I think like the third time it's like back again when the lady calls and is like, hey, there's like something in the
Yeah.
curtains or whatever.
Mhm.
Yeah, that fucking tech guy should be watching it, not the listeners. God,
Yeah, for real.
what's he doing in there?
Like, what's he getting paid for?
Yeah. Whenever
Alrighty,
I hear like
gentlemen.
whenever I hear a bad tech experience, I always remember the dude from Monroeville Mall, the sound guy.
Oh my God.
Like, what are you doing back there? He's fucking doing
Oh,
levers
that's
and
right.
shit, pretending
Yeah.
he's fixing it.
Oh
The worst
God.
sound ever. Like
Worst,
Worst ever.
yeah, worst. Which kind of the Monroe Mall just sold. We
I'll be
might,
back.
we'll see. This might be your last time to see it, and it's
That's why I'm going.
yeah.
so
So
the
anyone that hasn't seen it yet,
the company that bought it operates malls. So
they
Okay,
said they
good.
want to reimagine the mall though.
yeah, there's
So
that.
it's
Yeah.
probably going to
Oh
go under.
no.
They
And
said it's probably going to
that
go into heavy renovations. So I don't know if you'll see
Ah,
anything that was originally there anymore. So
Yeah.
you
Such
might,
a bummer.
yeah, if
that
you
one
do
dude
want
is
to go,
gonna die, man.
yeah. The
That's
only thing that might
he's
remain
gonna be
might
like,
be
this fleck is still the same.
yeah, yeah.
the only thing that
Larry.
might remain will be like the behind the scenes stuff we saw, like
Yeah,
Maybe.
that room and stuff. But other
Yeah,
than
what's
that,
Larry gonna do, man?
seriously.
Larry
he
lives
won't,
and breathes it.
he won't be able to lay on the floor anymore with like the floor and stuff like that.
No.
But yeah,
Um,
anyone. So yeah, if anyone, this year might be your last chance to see anything from the original Dawn of the Dead. So
Yeah, I'm going back there for sure. I'm
nice.
doing a 2-day thing just to. Yeah, I know we just did it, but I'm like, I gotta see it just
Yeah,
again one last time.
pay homage one last time.
Yep.
To Dawn of the Dead. But all right, get back on track, gentlemen. All right, I think that's about it. So why don't we get into rating this sucker? I'll start us off. Yeah, man, I think overall it's a really fun watch. Like if you're into found footage movies, if you liked Late Night with the Devil and stuff like that, I think you'll definitely be into this. It's definitely a slow mover, but I think if, like I said, if you can immerse yourself in and kind of put yourself in the shoes of 1992 Halloween night, this airing live, I think you can really enjoy it. So yeah, I give it a 3.5 out of 5. I had a good time with it.
Austin.
Yeah, I would say like surface level, I probably would have given this like a 3 out of 5, but just like like I said before, knowing everything around it and all that, I would probably put it at 4 out of 5. And yeah, it's just like a cool little, like horror time capsule of that era where just stuff like that didn't happen. And I don't think we'll ever see anything like that again. And I'm sure it probably, like Joe was saying, it kicked off a lot of found footage type movies that, people probably saw that and were like, hey, we could do that too. So yeah, I would give it 4 out of 5.
Alrighty. The idea and the concept I absolutely love. I just don't love the execution. Sarah's a babe. Fuck Craig. And I honestly would rewatch this in a couple more years, but I would want to set it right. All the lights off in the basement near Halloween, get the right feel. Because I watched it bits and pieces through the day at night. So I kind of jumbled it together, which didn't really give a good service to it. But right now I'm sitting at a 3 out of 5.
So I'm conflicted with this one because on the one hand, I was getting bored. I'll be honest. Like I was struggling watching it, and I was in a dark room in my basement and everything like that. I don't know. I just wasn't like really getting into it. On the other hand, after discussing it, I want to go watch it again. So it's like this weird kind of thing. So I'm gonna split it down the middle, 2.5 out of 5. There are some things I love about it. There's some things I don't love about it, but I will, yeah, I'll probably definitely watch it again. I mean, but like you said, probably more around Halloween. Just yeah, it's cool. It's a cool experiment. I love like experimental movies that do something different, and I definitely appreciate.
Yeah, I think what would be really fun is to watch this with someone and be like, man, like BBC like made this like did this ghost special on Halloween night and some like weird stuff happened and like kind of make them seem like it was real. Like, you show this to like sort of your wife or your partner or someone who's like really not that into horror and sort of see how their reaction goes. I mean, eventually they'll probably catch on, but I think it'd be fun to sort of do something like that. I think that'd be a fun time. But what do our friends over at Letterboxd have to say about this? Folks, I'm pretty shocked about this rating. 3.8 out of 5 over on live. Very high praise for this movie over on Letterboxd. So yeah, a very, very high 3.8. So more close to me and Austin on that one. And yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah,
That's it.
that was super
Austin.
fun.
Yeah, that was awesome, man. Austin, thank you so much for joining us. If you want to chat and hang out with Austin, join us over on the Discord. He's over there now, and you can hang out with him and whatnot. But yeah, Austin, once again, thank you so much for joining us. Steve, what do we got next week, buddy?
So we are at that time of year where we are celebrating the Day of Love, our annual Valentine's Day episode, and it just so happens that another person who purchased a perk from our movie picked a movie that is perfect for this holiday. So thank you, Brenda, for picking this one. We are going to watch The Love Witch, which is over, I'm pretty sure, on Tubi.
Excellent. This is one I am been just holding off on for so long. And I'm really excited to watch this one. I think I'm really going to enjoy this one. So can't wait to watch it. So yeah, join us for our very special Valentine's episode next week with Love Witch. Make sure you get your candles. You can light your candles and listen to us with your lover while you're making love on
Can I
on
make love to you
Valentine's
while
Day.
watching it?
If you'd like.
It's like
Yeah,
Inception.
We'll just get the VR goggles on and just fucking watch
Ooh,
Love Witch.
yeah.
It's
nice.
on Tubi and Peacock.
Nice.
Sweet.
I'll
Awesome.
have to check
So,
that one out. I've heard of it,
Yeah.
but I've never seen it.
2016.
Same. I don't think have any of us seen it?
Nope.
No. Nice. So it'll be a first time watch for all of us.
Looks
Awesome.
pretty cool.
Awesome. All right. Before I outro us, Austin, any last words for the show or for our listeners?
Yeah, so I mean, like I said, thanks again for having me on. I mean, I'm really looking forward to seeing what y'all do with the movie and everything, and not to like derail anything, but I did have a question for y'all. Is there anything now that you're making a movie, are there any things that you're like, oh man, I didn't realize like how hard this part of making a movie is? Is there anything that's like, tougher or easier than you thought? Like, what is kind of your experience so far with getting everything together?
Mm-hmm. I think so. For me, like it's definitely hard for sure, and I haven't even gotten to the hardest part yet. But no, for me it was good because like I never, if Stephen Todd didn't push me to do this, I don't think I ever would have sat down and like wrote a script. Just because like I don't consider myself like a writer, and I just don't have the patience usually. But once I started writing, I found myself the creative juices were really flowing. And I'm excited. I think I wrote a pretty good script, and I'm excited to find it to, put it out and actually film it to see like how it comes about and whatnot. I will say the other thing I've done is I've appreciated watching low budget like indie horrors a lot more now, knowing how much work actually goes into it. That I've kind of been like, I'm not as critical as I guess as I once was. Like, well, I'm like, yeah, it's fucking hard, man. It's really hard to make a movie. And even though I may not like their movie, I know how much work goes into it. So yeah.
Yeah, well said, Joe. Well said. That's why I stopped reviewing books online because when I started writing and you get like a negative review, you can't pretend it doesn't hurt your feelings a little bit, you know? So if you write a negative review about another indie author, I'm like, I'm just not gonna do that anymore. Like I'm getting my star rating, that's it, you know? Because it's fucking hard. And the hardest thing about movies, I was just thinking about this the other day, like when I made them when I was younger, I would struggle with playing characters that were older than I would. Like if I was 16 years old, I couldn't pull off being a doctor or a cop or something like that. But now it's like, okay, I'm 37 years old. I can't pull off being a fucking 18-year-old anymore. So like just that the flip of being older and I used to be able to like, jump on tables and collapse them for stupid stunts we did. If I break my fucking arms if I did that now. But yeah, making movies hard, man, because especially with the filming process, like there's no fixing it and editing if you didn't get it. And if you didn't get it, you're fucked, you know? So like remembering to manage all the coverage and all the angles and making sure you get, oh, I got to get the mailman walking this way because if he just appears out of nowhere when, Glazer and TJ are walking up, that's gonna make zero sense. So just like remembering to get like to not fall into the trap that we always complain about when we watch movies. We're like, that doesn't make sense. That's a continuity error. And already I see like, oh, Glazer, who's a bully, his fucking his drink disappears. And where the fuck did I even put the drink? It's in there one moment, it's there, it's not there the next. So it's like, oh, someone's gonna get that and maybe complain about it, which would be hilarious because that's a Todd gripe. So, but yeah, it's fun, man. I wish we can all be together and a big group. If we had everyone in Discord in one room or one state, we can fucking make something epic. But that's not how it works out. So, still fun.
Yeah, from my end, it's just like trying to get around limitations, I don't know anyone near me that is going to help me with the movie. I have friends that live like far enough away that are going to come in the spring to help me like do my stuff, but I'm doing most of it on my own, which is why I like tailored my story where I'm basically the only actor in my own film because I have no one really to help me with it. So just getting around those challenges is like interesting, but at the same time, putting me in a box is just making me almost more creative because I'm really trying to find ways to make it interesting while keeping those things in mind. So yeah, it's fun. It's a different challenge. It's just I enjoy the challenge. I'm really looking forward to really getting into it. And I already started like kind of building the props and stuff and working on the trailer, and it's cool. It reminds me of going to college when I used to do the same thing. And I had different limitations back then. I had like a ton of friends there, but it was just like, I didn't have like space. I didn't have my own house. So like I got in so much trouble with my parents one time because I did like someone shot themselves and I like splattered blood over their head and it stained the fucking wall and like it's just like, it's like different issues. So
Oh man. That reminds me, man. Like I did I was maybe like 17 or something, but it was like a zombie short and one of my characters either way, I got a lot of blood in the backyard on the cement and it stained the fucking cement. And that same day my dad's bird flew away
oh
and like
no.
disappeared,
Oh
right? And I knew
no.
it flew away. But he fucking saw the fake blood. He's like, the fucking
Oh
dog ate
no.
the bird. And I'm like, no, Dad, the bird fucking, it was a wild pigeon. They need to respect the health, right? I'm like, the bird's fucking wild. It flew away. The fucking dog ate the bird. I know it. This fucking blood. I'm like, yeah, so I remember like putting holes in the walls and my parents be fucking pissed, dude. Good stuff. Good question, man.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good answers.
Thank Alrighty, yeah. So yeah, we'll see. The project continues, the journey continues, and hopefully by the end of this year, you might be seeing this movie or early 2026. We'll see how editing goes and all that and any delays, but hopefully it'll be out very soon for you guys. And we were excited to share it with the world. All right, so that's gonna wrap it up for this episode. Once again, Love Witch for next week. We hope you guys enjoyed this episode. We hope you enjoyed Austin. Once again, come and hang out with Austin and everyone over on the Discord. You can join the Discord completely free to join. Of course, it's linked over on our Instagram, or send us a DM or an email. We will get you there. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Threads. Just search the Horror Squad Podcast. You can email us anytime, the Horror Squad Podcast at gmail.com. Also, don't forget, leave us a 5-star review on your favorite podcast app if you haven't already. That helps the podcast. Or you can buy merch, tpublic.com, the Horror Squad Podcast. That's also linked over on our Instagram. And yeah, I think that's about it, folks. So, important dates. Don't forget Hocus Pocus weekend, October 2nd through the 5th. We're locking down all the events and stuff as we speak. But if you do plan on coming, definitely book a hotel if you haven't already, or just book it as a placeholder. But yeah, those are your dates. It should be a really fun time. So that's it, folks. We'll see you next week for The Love Witch. Bye.
Bye.